What's good everybody, and welcome back to yet another video. This is Sankalp Chauhan, and if you are new here on this channel, consider subscribing this channel because on this channel we discuss a lot about business, entrepreneurship, personal finance and of course vlogs. So I'm really excited to make this video because this video actually fulfills my hunger and curiosity towards meat. Oh my god, for a vegetarian person like me, meat could be a very big affair. I'm not a particular or typical vegetarian kind of a person. I'm a pure vegetarian, but I'm not a vegan and I do not consume meat. This was the pure description of my taste buds basically. I am really curious about this particular video because when I actually researched about this video, I really got to know how people like Sinha brothers that we are going to discuss in this video are actually going to create a whole lot of other industry in terms of foods and beverages, right? I'm telling you that this is going to be an amazing video for you as well. If you are a vegetarian or even if you are a non-vegetarian, you should definitely watch this video and you should definitely share it among your friends. We will be discussing about the story of Sinha brothers and how you could actually create a plant-based meat system or a plant-based meat enterprise or business in India. The concept of plant-based meat is quite very new in this country. Most of the people are either they are pure vegetarian, they are typical vegetarian, or there are very less number of people who consume non-vegetarian food. Concept like plant-based meat, either it could be a game changer in the entire country or it could be a big failure. Now when this industry will take a boom ahead in the future, we will definitely get to know like what could be the possible outcome of industries like that of plant-based meat. Now for me, the plant-based meat term was not a very new term in 2021 because last year only I heard this term somewhere on the news when some Bollywood celebrities actually invested in a startup which was creating a plant-based meat or something like that. And a year later, finally I decided to make and share it in a video. When we hear the plant-based meat, the first thing arises in our mind like how is plant even related to a meat? A piece of meat basically, right? How is plant? Because plant is something which is a complete vegetarian kind of thing, or it takes the entire vegetarian side, whereas the meat is something which takes the entire non-vegetarian side. Or how these plant and meat could come up together to produce something which is consumable, right? First thing is that what is plant-based meat? All right, now I'll make you understand it in the simplest language possible. We know that somewhat or the other everything is made up of proteins, right? And similar is the case with plant-based meat as well. Like plant-based meat are actually created or are actually formed by a similar kind of proteins from which the meat is made and from which the plants are made. So it is basically a combination of proteins of plants and proteins of animals which are somehow combined together and something worthy of consumption is basically produced. So this is the simplest language in which you can understand the concept of plant-based meat. Of course, you can do a lot of research and a lot of other things in order to go or deep dive into this matter, but I don't think so that it would be much required to you. In India, basically, there are many other startups which are actually doing this kind of things, but there is one of the most popular startup that is actually doing this business in India is the GoodDo and GoodDot enterprises, right? Now these two startups are actually run by Sinha brothers. We call them like Abhishek Sinha and Abhinav Sinha. Now the idea of plant-based meat to these brothers actually came from a very simple thought when one of these brothers actually discussed among themselves that they do not really want to kill the animals for the taste of meat. And now this is a very simple thought to arise in our mind, but most of the people do not really think about this. But these brothers actually thought of creating a way out. Now let us have a little bit of glimpse on their particular startup. Now the GoodDot is a company that is run by Sinha brothers which produces plant-based meats, right? But the GoodDo is the one which actually transfers or they provide delivery of these plant-based meat products. Now the major point of concern that arises here is that who could be the target people of startups like that of GoodDo and GoodDot? To answer this, these brothers actually came up with a very interesting approach towards this. The brothers have actually divided the entire vegetarian market into three major components. The first one being the conservative vegetarians. If you are living in India for the longest time period, you must have come across certain people who do not really like to share a table with someone who is eating a meat, or someone who is consuming meat towards them, or they will not even go to the restaurants which are serving both vegetarian as well as a non-vegetarian food. So these people are basically considered as conservative vegetarians, and this is the typical class of people who cannot tolerate meat even on their tables. The second category of the people are the ones which are moderate vegetarians. These are the people who do not really mind having a shared table among with different friends who might really eat meat, and they have no problem regarding that, but they do not really consume meat, right? So these are the kind of people who are the moderate vegetarians, right? Now the third kind of vegetarian are the adventurous vegetarians, right? These are the people who are vegetarians, but they also consume meat under one or the other form. Either they hide it from their parents that they are not consuming meat, but they are consuming, or the people who are consuming meat but they are not doing it very frequently. And these are the people who are very curious about how would meat really taste like. Similarly, these brothers have also divided the criteria for non-vegetarians people in a similar manner. The ones who are typical non-vegetarians and who consume a lot of meat, and they certainly cannot really survive without consuming meat. And the second one is that they are the moderate non-vegetarian people who can consume meat but on certain occasions. In order to have a market approach, these brothers have actually eliminated the first and the second category, which is the typical or the conservative vegetarian part and the conservative non-vegetarian part of the people on a side, whereas they are only focusing on the people who are middle of this criteria. For example, they are putting more efforts of awareness towards the vegetarian people who are moderately vegetarian or moderately non-vegetarian, and similarly there are people who are adventurous vegetarian or adventurous non-vegetarian. This is basically the market segment of the startup. So this is how the brothers have actually decided their market value. Now you may ask that what is the possible product? What is the product that this startup is actually trying to create? When we talk about plant-based meat, we cannot really have it in normally in packets or something. They need to be processed in a very careful manner. In a similar way, the startup has different products. Like for example, they have something called as mock meat, which is basically typically a size or a block of meat, plant-based meat, with which you can actually cut it down, and you can use it in whichever way you really like it. Either you can put it in a curry or a gravy. You can make gravy and just put it in serve it with some gravy or other stuff. So, sorry, but I'm not a food blogger. All right. Now the second one is the category which is easy to cook, which means that this particular category have the products which are easy to cook. Like for example, they have biryani, which means that which is very easy to cook. Like you just put it in a pressure cooker and the rest of the things are done. This is one criteria of the product. Now the third one is the ready to eat kind of plant-based meat system. In this startup, they have achari tikka and Thai curry, which they claim that this is something which is ready to eat. These are the basically three product criteria that this startup really has. According to the brothers, the 5 key points that they keep in mind while designing their product is definitely the taste, price, nutrition, quality and convenience of consumption. Now these are the 5 qualities that they look forward towards their product. Now one of the major question arises here is that there are a lot of people who are really not aware of the concept of plant-based meat. How do they really spread awareness about the plant-based meat? How is the entire hype is created? How are people really aware about plant-based meat? Now these brothers actually have a very interesting story towards this. They have a lot of good media channel partners which actually provide a lot of content related to plant-based meat, and that is something which is actually broadcasted, and this is how they spread the awareness towards the people who watch television. And the second way they have is they have actually partnered with a very good company called as Amway, and they have partnered with them, and they try to sell their products through them as well. So this is these are the basic 2 reasons or 2 paths from which they are actually creating awareness in the minds of the people. So this is how it is really creating. Now the market of plant-based meat could be really big in the future, and do let me know in the comment section, what do you think about the industry of the plant-based meat and how successful it could get in India, or will it be successful, or would it just fail in India? Because there are a lot of people there, because there are a lot of different kind of people living in India. There's a huge diversity which might really accept the concept of plant-based meat, or might not really accept the concept of plant-based meat. Do let me know in the comment section, what do you guys really think about it? So this is it with the video, guys. I really hope that you must have enjoyed and got some value through this video. I really enjoyed making this video, particularly because it actually it is very interesting to talk about food sometimes. And do not forget to hit the like button, share it among your friends, and subscribe to the channel, because it really helps me out a lot to produce a lot of better content on this channel. So thank you so much for watching the video.